All right, let's dive right in. We're going to explore one of the biggest questions we could possibly ask. What happens after we die? But more than that, what happens between our lives? Today, we're taking a look at the soul's journey, a path that honestly might just change how you see everything. I mean, who hasn't stared at the ceiling at 3 a.m. and wondered, what am I even doing here? What's my purpose? Or, the big one, is this it? These questions, they're not just random thoughts. They're at the very heart of what it means to be human. And today, we're going to look at one of the most fascinating ways people have tried to find some answers.
So, how do you even begin to research something like this? Well, there's a technique called Life Between Lives Hypnotherapy, or LBL for short. It was pioneered by a man named Dr. Michael Newton. And get this, over decades, he worked with more than 7,000 clients who, under deep hypnosis, started recalling their existence in the spirit world. It's like opening a window into what our souls get up to when they're not here on Earth.
Now, to really get a feel for what this is all about, we're not just going to talk theory. We're going to jump right into a case study from one of these LBL sessions. This is a first-hand account of one person's incredible journey, starting in a past life and then going far beyond it.
Okay, so the session starts and boom, the client's consciousness is suddenly somewhere else entirely. She finds herself as a 9-year-old boy named Joseph, and the first things he feels are so immediate, so raw. He's hungry, he's cold, and he feels this intense need to protect his little 5-year-old brother.
The scene sharpens, and it's grim. It's a concentration camp in Austria during the Holocaust. Joseph and his brother Abraham are trapped inside a fence, totally alone. Their parents are gone. There's this overwhelming sense of fear and confusion. But even through all of that, Joseph's focus is on his little brother. An older girl there, she knows what's coming, and she doesn't try to soften the blow. She tells them straight up what's going to happen. She says they call it a shower, but it's poison. And she gives them the only piece of advice she can. Don't fight it, just breathe deep and make it fast. Can you imagine? These kids make a pact to be brave for each other in the face of just the unthinkable. And then, in that final terrible moment, something extraordinary happens. As the gas fills the room, Joseph's consciousness just lifts away. He describes floating right out of his body before it even technically died. And here's the key part. He felt zero pain, zero suffering. It was just an immediate and surprisingly peaceful exit. So, is that it? Is that the end of the story? Well, according to thousands of these accounts, it's not the end at all. For the soul, the journey has really only just begun. Joseph's spirit is now completely free. He doesn't describe some scary, dark tunnel or a final judgment. It's the opposite. He's immediately surrounded by this brilliant, loving light. An angelic being even greets him and says, "Good to see you. Welcome back." Welcome back? That implies this isn't a new place. It's home. And this leads us to a really core idea in this work, the soul group. Think of it as your true spiritual family, your cosmic crew. It's a group of souls that you travel with across lifetimes, helping each other learn and grow. They're your parents, your best friends, your kids, and believe it or not, sometimes they're even your biggest enemies, all by agreement to help you learn a really tough lesson. What's wild is that Joseph's experience isn't a one-off. It follows this pattern that thousands of people report again and again. You're greeted by your guides. You have this amazing reunion with your soul group. You go through a life review, not a scary judgment, but more like a loving debrief with these super wise beings. And then, after all that healing and learning, you actually start planning your next life. Now, this is where my mind really starts to bend, because you have to ask, why on earth would a soul choose a life that's so short and so full of trauma like Joseph's? Well, from the soul's point of view, it turns out there's always a reason, a higher purpose. As Joseph's soul looks back on that life, the reason just clicks into place. It wasn't random at all. It was a mission. That short, heartbreaking existence had one very specific goal: to spark compassion in the heart of one of the Nazi guards who watched them die. And then comes the moment that gives you chills. The client has this sudden, massive realization. The soul of that guard, the one who was filled with regret for what he'd done, is the soul of her gentle, loving father in her current life. The same father, she adds, who can't even stand to watch a war movie. Wow. So this is the whole game changer, right? From our human perspective, life can feel like a series of random, unfair events. Enemies are people to hate, and death is this horrible ending. But from the soul's perspective, challenges are opportunities we chose for growth. Those enemies are just our soulmates in disguise, playing a tough role for us. And death, it's not an end, it's just going home. Okay, so we've talked about human lives on Earth, but what if the journey is even bigger than that? This is where Dr. Newton's research uncovered what he very carefully called anomalies, memories that seem to come from way beyond our world. Now, while most of these memories are from human lives, a small but consistent number of people recalled something totally different, lives on other planets, or even visiting Earth but not in a human body. And this starts to touch on some really challenging modern topics like UFOs and alien encounters, but from a completely different angle. It suggests that for some souls, the journey here is truly interplanetary. And according to these memories, these visits took all kinds of forms. Some were just quick missions to sort of nudge early human consciousness in the right direction. Others were apparently full-on colonizations. Some were even teams of explorers who shared advanced knowledge, allegedly helping with things like the pyramids. So this raises a fascinating question about experiences like alien abductions. Is it always a physical event with a nuts and bolts spaceship? Or could some of these encounters actually be memories of the soul's own out-of-body journeys, experiences from a past, non-human life bubbling up to the surface?
So, after going through life, death, past incarnations, and even to other worlds, what's the big takeaway from all this? What's the point of knowing any of it? You know, Dr. Newton himself summed it up perfectly. He basically said that if you take away nothing else from all his work, just take this one thing. You have a permanent, immortal identity that is absolutely worth finding. That's the real treasure.
The ultimate message here is so empowering. It's the idea that we aren't just helpless victims of circumstance. We are powerful, eternal spiritual beings who are having a temporary human experience. An experience that, on some level, we actually designed for our own learning and growth. And when you look at your life through that lens, it can turn pain into purpose and fear into understanding.
So, I want to leave you with a thought to chew on. Just for a moment, what if you fully believed it? That you chose this life with all of its messy, beautiful, difficult, and joyful parts because it was the perfect curriculum for your soul. If you knew that was true, what would you do differently tomorrow?